Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to examine a claim that has gone viral. Qatar goes rage 20,000 Israeli soldiers killed. We'll break it down, look at the evidence, analyze the motivations behind such headlines, and assess whether there is any truth to the claim. First, let's be clear. At present, there is no credible evidence that 20,000 Israeli soldiers have been killed in any conflict, let alone in a confrontation with Qatar. Large-scale military losses of that magnitude would leave a clear and verifiable trace in international reporting, official statements, and intelligence agencies. No reputable news outlet or defense ministry has documented such casualties. What we do find instead is a complex situation involving regional tensions, media warfare, and propaganda. So where might a headline like this come from? It may be based on disinformation, sensationalism, or an attempt to inflame public anger or support for one side. In conflicts, especially in the Middle East, we often see exaggerated claims of casualties or victories circulated to boost morale or delegitimize the opponent. These claims are sometimes repeated without verification, especially on social media and in partisan media outlets. That's why it's important to cross-check with independent reporting and credible sources. Let's shift to what is actually known to give us a clearer background. A few weeks ago, Israel carried out an airstrike in Doha, Qatar, targeting Hamas leadership that was meeting there to discuss a U.S. proposed ceasefire. The strike killed 6 people, including one Qatari security officer, and injured others. According to multiple reports, Hamas confirmed the deaths of 5 of its members, and Qatar acknowledged the loss of one of its own internal security personnel. The Israeli government, for its part, claimed responsibility for a surgical precision strike aimed at Hamas figures. Qatar strongly condemned the attack, calling it a violation of its sovereignty and international norms. The Qatari Prime Minister stated that nothing would deter Qatar from its mediation role between Israel and Hamas, even after the strike. Reuters in response, Qatar rallied regional support, and the Arab and Islamic states convened an emergency summit in Doha to discuss countermeasures and to express solidarity. So that is what we know so far. No credible source supports the claim of 20,000 Israeli soldiers killed. The real story is a more measured, though still volatile, headline. A direct strike by Israel on Qatari soil, targeting Hamas, causing deaths and sparking diplomatic fallout. Let's look at motivations. Why would someone propagate a dramatic claim like 20,000 soldiers killed? For one, it's a way to stir strong emotions, fear, anger, righteous indignation. Such a claim can energize audiences, create outrage, and frame the narrative as one of overwhelming victory or injustice. In conflicts with high polarization, exaggeration often serves a propagandistic purpose. It can also serve censorship or distraction. When people focus on the sensational, they may lose sight of the real developments, nuance, and strategic consequences. Another reason could be confusion or misinterpretation. In fast-moving news cycles, numbers are sometimes misheard, exaggerated, or mistranslated. A small skirmish casualty might be inflated in retelling, or a projection might be misinterpreted as fact. And once a dramatic claim circulates, it can spread quickly on messaging apps, social platforms, video titles, regardless of its accuracy. The title you cited might be one of those viral exaggerations. What are the risks of such exaggeration? First, it undermines trust. If people later realize the claim was false, they may distrust even legitimate reporting. Second, it escalates tensions. A public belief that 20,000 soldiers were lost could provoke calls for revenge, military escalation, or further polarization. Third, it dulls public sensitivity to real suffering. When every claim is inflated, real casualty reports might be dismissed as more propaganda. Now, a legitimate question: does Qatar have the capability or motive to engage in a military action that could kill tens of thousands of Israeli soldiers? Qatar is a wealthy but small Gulf state. It has military and diplomatic capacities and hosts a U.S. base, but to inflict mass casualties on the Israeli military would require a major military force, heavy weaponry, and sustained operations, which are not known to be in Qatar's arsenal. Also, such an attack would invite massive retaliation from Israel and possibly drag in wider regional powers. There is no sign that Qatar has embarked on such operations. A more plausible strategic use of power by Qatar is diplomacy and regional influence, hosting negotiations, mediating conflict, projecting soft power. That is in fact what Qatar has done in the Israel-Hamas conflict in recent years. Qatar has served as an intermediary between Hamas and other actors, including Israel, and has facilitated humanitarian and diplomatic channels. The recent attack in Doha directly challenged that role. Let's also consider how Israel frames such operations. Israel justifies strikes on Hamas by asserting security, retaliation for attacks on its citizens, and preventing future attacks. In this case, the strike was justified by Israel's leadership as a response to provocations and ongoing conflict with Hamas. Israel also used this operation to issue a warning to nations that host Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu gave a stark message: nations must either expel Hamas or bring them to justice, or face consequences. In the international arena, this strike has provoked sharp criticism. Many states condemned the attack as a violation of Qatar's sovereignty, as an assault on mediation efforts, and as escalation in an already volatile region. The United Nations, Gulf states, and Arab governments called for restraint, dialogue, and respect for international law. From all of this, I want to draw some lessons for viewers, media consumers, and anyone interested in geopolitics. Always treat dramatic claims, especially casualty numbers, with skepticism. Legitimate reporting will cite sources, documents, and confirmations, not just sensational assertions. Cross-check claims with multiple independent sources, news agencies, think tanks, official statements. Recognize the role of narratives and propaganda in conflict zones. Both sides often seek to control the story, exaggerate achievements, or demonize the other. Understanding the real events, such as the Doha strike, is more important than endless amplification of false claims. What actually happened matters for diplomacy, military strategy, and human consequences. Finally, remain critical of video titles, thumbnails, and headlines. They may be designed to get clicks or inflame emotions rather than convey factual truth. To revisit the original claim, Qatar goes rage 20,000 Israeli soldiers killed, is not supported by any evidence at present. The known event is a sharply criticized Israeli strike in Doha on Hamas figures that resulted in a small number of casualties, 6 in total, including 1 Qatari official and substantial diplomatic fallout. The discrepancy between the real numbers and the sensational headline claims is enormous. In closing, I encourage you, as viewers, to approach claims like these with careful analysis. Don't let sensational headlines dictate your belief. Seek evidence, demand sources, think about motives, and remember, in any conflict, the battle for truth is as important as the military one. If you like, I can prepare a fact-check video or infographic on this topic that shows how we trace claims, verify them, and debunk misinformation. Do you want me to do that next?